We've been talking about the concept of shalom. I've been arguing that there are four parts, four quadrants, what Janice said, of shalom. Peace with God, peace within ourselves, peace with our neighbor, and peace with creation. And these things sort of exist in an equilibrium. And they sort of balance each other out. And when one part of shalom is not present, it makes everything else go sort of off kilter. If we love God with all our heart, mind, soul, and strength, but we ignore the needs of our neighbor, we're out of balance. If we love our neighbor, but we forget to love our God, we turn into kind of a social service agency, which are great. We need those. But that's not really the mission of the church. And so part of the work of understanding shalom is understanding for all of those things to live in balance. And then if one is missing, we're missing a vital piece of the balance. So today we talk about how do we balance out peace with our God and peace within ourselves. This sermon is for our teenagers and our young adults. It's really not for the rest of you. I love you, but I preach a lot of sermons for you. This is for them, and you're invited to listen in and try to remember what it was like in that stage of life. This is for them because the most important thing that they can do in their spiritual life at this stage is to learn to love the self that God made them. If you all get that right, everything else will fall into place. But it is the most important spiritual work of being a teenager, I think. To learn to be at peace with who God made you to be. To understand your flaws, but to not let them define you. So how do we find peace within ourselves? Shalom is peace with God, self, neighbor, creation. They all live in balance. We talked about last week, peace does not mean the absence of conflict. Peace does not mean there is no strife or no war. That's not the definition of peace. Peace means wholeness, completion, unity. Peace means to be without fracture or fragment. Think about your home when it feels peaceful. It's when there are no fragments or fractures happening. And one person said, shalom is the summit of all other values of the Christian faith. We work our whole life to climb a mountain as we follow the way of Jesus. And when we reach the top, when we can balance out our life between love of God, self, neighbor, and creation, we finally live at peace. It's the summit of all values. And then if we're going to find peace with God, we have to follow God's commandments, especially the greatest commandment. We have to remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. That's what we talked about last week. Sabbath without God time is just a day off. We have to remember the Sabbath and keep it holy, devote part of it to God. And we have to try to walk in alignment with God. Our marching band director is not here today because he's working in marching band. But those of you who did marching band, the first thing you learned was to walk in alignment, a straight line. We have to learn to be aligned to God, to know where we're trying to go and where we are and what we're trying to achieve. And today we add shalom with ourselves, peace within ourselves. How do you achieve peace within yourself? Jesus was the walking manifestation of shalom. He lived in perfect balance, I think. Perfect equilibrium of our little balance game over here. His life was in perfect alignment with the will of God. At the end of his earthly life, Jesus shared a really important meal, so important that we share it every week together when we come to worship. At the end of that meal, you remember the rest of it, don't you? He washes their feet. He serves them bread and cup, and he tells them to remember him. And then he says, I'm going away. I am not going to be here anymore. I'm leaving. I'm out. And you can't come with me. I'm leaving and you can't come with me. And he tells them a few more really important pieces of information about faith before he leaves. People call this the farewell discourse. I'm leaving. This is what you need to know before I go. And it's almost a recap of his whole life and ministry. And that's where he tells them, I will come back to get you sometime, but I'm going to prepare a place for you in my Father's house. There are many rooms. There will be room for you, but I'm going to go away. And they say, how do I know the way? Jesus, how do we get to you? Oh, you know the way. I'm the way and the truth and the life. And what I leave behind is for you. In the meantime, I leave you peace. I leave you peace. And God is sending an advocate to be with you. We call that the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is going to live in you. It's going to dwell. It's going to abide. It's going to be as close to you as your very heartbeat. God is sending this gift to the world. Every breath you take in and out, the Holy Spirit is with you. And it will dwell within you. Don't let your hearts be troubled. Do not let them be afraid. And if you love me, keep my commandments. Jesus says, and allow peace to dwell within you. The peace of Jesus. Allow peace. Allow the Spirit to make its home in you. Imagine God comes up to you, my teenage friends. God says, I've got a house for you. I fixed it up. It's real nice. It's not fancy. It's just enough. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, and you get to live in it. I picture a little cottage type house. And God says, you can live in this house for the rest of your life, rent-free, all bills paid. Wouldn't that be nice? It's yours. And all you have to do is have a roommate. Now, you can fall in love, you can find your partner, and they can live there too, but you have to have this roommate the rest of your life. Actually, you have to have 2 roommates. The Holy Spirit and peace have to live with you. And if you will take care of peace and the Spirit, you can have this home and you can dwell there. But you have to prepare a place. So you say, well, that's a pretty good deal. I'd like a rent-free, all bills paid home up on the mountain or on the beach or wherever you find God. And so you prepare a little guest room for peace. Now, I like to think of peace like a corgi because I don't know how you could not be happy around a corgi. Your peace can be a dove. That's certainly a more biblical image than a corgi. It can be whatever you want it to be. It can be a houseplant. But you have to take care of peace. And it has to dwell with you. So you prepare a room for peace and you fix it up. And after you've made this deal with God, God says, oh, by the way, there are other things that are going to come and try to live in this house. Spiritual squatters. And be careful about that because once they get into your house, they're really hard to get out. And so part of your work of allowing peace to dwell in your home is you have to keep these other things out. Jealousy is going to come knock at your door. Jealousy disturbs peace. Anger and rage are going to try to get in to your house. Anger and rage really scare peace. Hatred will come and beat down the door at times and try to live in your heart. Hatred will run off peace. Other things will try to get in, and you have to sort of figure out security system, big fence, cactuses by the windows, whatever you have to do to keep them out. Dishonesty, lust, comparison. You know, they say comparison is the thief of joy. Comparison is also the thief of peace. Temptation, self-doubt, all these things are going to come knocking like door-to-door salesmen. And you have to figure out how to keep them out. That's all you have to do. You have to keep that room for peace. Now, sometimes friends are going to come in to the house. That's good. We want you to have friends. We'd love it if you found good Christian friends. And they're not going to mean to, but they're going to bring luggage and backpacks with them. And sometimes those things are going to be on their backs. And you're going to have to find a way to show them the door. You're going to have to find a way to say, I'm sorry, I love you, and you are welcome here. But the hatred has to stay out on the porch until you leave. The dishonesty has to wait in the car. You are welcome in my house. But we have to keep a place for peace. Don't keep everyone out. That's not the answer. The answer is to tell people who come in what they can bring with them and what you need to ask them to keep at the door. Well, over time, over your lifetime, you do a good job protecting peace, and peace grows. And peace is healthy and friendly and fun and a constant companion because you did the work to let peace grow. So how do you take care of peace other than to keep the security system going? Here are a few ways that I nurture peace and work for peace to grow. Number one, silence. If we want peace to grow in our homes and in our hearts and in the home that's in our heart, we have to attend to our inward life. We have to learn to listen to God. The road to peace is quiet. The road to peace is quiet. Our world is so loud. You have to learn to keep the peace. Number two, we have to keep God's commandments. To love God and love our neighbor and love ourselves. And you know what you have to do to keep commandments, church? You got to know what they are. Did you know that? If you're going to keep the commandments, you got to know them. So we have to study. Number three, we have to play. The work of church is supposed to be joyful. We have to play together. Teenagers, you have to play. That feeds peace. You knew it was coming. Screens are a no-no. Screens are out. Nature is in order to feed peace. Screens don't feed peace. Go out and be in God's creation. Go out and be in the world that God made, not the one that humans made. To feed peace, we have to go out, even when it's 170 degrees, and be in the world that God made for us. For peace to grow, we have to serve others. We have to put others before ourselves. To learn to make ourselves still in alignment with God. To put another person in front of us in line. To make ourselves second and third. We have to be a neighbor, which is to show mercy. Mercy feeds peace. And the last one, I think we have to be aware of our flaws. And I think we have to work on them. Now, they're going to live in our house with us. But you don't have to let them redecorate. Our flaws are going to live in our house with us. But we don't have to let them redecorate. They don't get to pick the furniture. And over time, maybe they become smaller and quieter. And they go out to the backyard instead of the house. So if we're going to achieve shalom, we have to learn to love God. We have to learn to love ourselves. We have to learn to grow peace, to guard peace. And as someone said, we have to pursue peace. We have to make it the work of our life of faith to go after peace when it runs off. And show it that it has a home in your heart. Jesus told us the Holy Spirit was coming to abide, to dwell. How's your house? Is it ready for company?